Right on. Let's play something.
All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Hey, that was fun.
Yeah.
Hello. Welcome to Fender Play Live. Today we're talking about bass tones, and to show you, we're going to show off a few of our classic Squier Vibe bass, well, a bass and a guitar. Why? Because these are versatile, rugged, they're easy to play, so whether you're a bass player or you're a guitarist looking to dip your toes into the bass, these might be a good bass for you to check out. So to help me out, please welcome my special guest, Chelsea Stevens.
Hello.
Yeah. Chelsea's a fantastic bass player, but she's also one of our Fender Play instructors, and she's got tons of teaching experience, so really glad to have you here.
Thanks, Matt.
Right on. So I'm playing not a bass. I'm not really a bass player, but I'm playing a Squier Classic Vibe 60s Jazz Master. Chelsea, what are you playing?
This is a 70s Classic Vibe bass. It's a J bass, and it sounds great.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What are you playing through?
This is the Rumble LT25. Also sounds amazing. Nice tiny amp that gives you a lot of punch.
Tiny amp with a lot of punch. Let's play something else now.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Can we start off?
Go for it.
3. It's a mellow, just good.
Yeah, it's a good vibe.
Yeah, super fun to play.
Nice.
So bass tone, we're talking about bass tone. So Squier has traditionally been a beginner level guitar offering Fender quality, but at a very affordable cost. But they've made some upgrades to get you some great tones. So number one, the pickups, these are Fender designed pickups. These are beautiful looking guitars. The one I'm playing, it plays great, feels great. I'm on the split pickup here. Super easy to play, sounds great, nice, warm, full. Let's hear what you got there on that J bass.
Yeah, so the thing about Squier is while it's a lot more affordable as technology's gotten better, they can give you a lot more for your money. So this bass can give you so many options for tones. It's supposed to be more of that like 70s vibe, and they actually styled these pickups after the old kind of classic basses. But with all the technology we have now, you can use this to play pretty much any style. So in terms of these awesome pickups, we have this front pickup that gives you a lot of more bassy tone. I usually play with this because it's really versatile and you can play it in pretty much any style of music. So I have this front knob here that controls my volume for my front pickup, and that's just a really clean bass sound. Sounds great. So this back pickup here, or our bridge pickup, is a lot more bitey and gives you a lot more treble. So if I turn that front pickup down, turn this one all the way up, you can see the difference, and I can play a lot more lead lines with this. Another cool thing about this is if I turn this back tone knob all the way up, you'll see how much more tone I get. It's a lot of options for one pretty simple, affordable bass.
Right, basically, yeah. 2 pickups, and you just had them, front, then the bridge or the back, and then just dialing the tone knob.
It sounds like 3 different instruments, but all in one.
Very cool,
yeah.
Very cool. So lots of options. So before we get into amps and effects, so we've talked about the tone a little bit. So different basses. So we've got the jazz bass. There's also a P bass. And then there's also different strings that people can try out as well, right?
Yeah, there's so many different styles of strings. The most common one is called a round wound. That gives you a really versatile tone that you usually see on any bass. You can play rock with that, or funk, or pretty much anything.
Those are round wounds,
and we
aren't
have
they?
some round ones on this, so that really classic kind of, you know, it's got a little bit of bite. It gives you that foundation that a bass player needs to provide.
Very cool. Very cool.
And then the other option that's pretty common is called flat wounds, and you see those a lot with R&B. It gives you a lot of a warmer, deeper sound. Yeah, a little less bite, but just a different tone. I love flat wounds.
Very cool. Let's jam a little bit. We're kind of keeping it in like the funky vein. We
Yeah,
can stay
for
on
sure.
that for a little bit. Let me hear you start off with something. We'll just jam for a little bit.
Totally. Okay. You get that bass tone back up.
Why don't you play a little something? Super fun. Chelsea Stevens on the bass.
Thank you, Brett.
Fantastic playing. Sounds super great. So lots of options, guitar and bass. We're talking about tones. So another way that you can get it besides just your bass guitar is through your amp and through your effects.
Yeah.
So let's head to the studio for this week's Insider and find out about the latest in Fender bass amps.
Hi, I'm Dan Ellis from Fender Play. While I've been playing guitar for a lot of years, I've also been playing bass, and I've toured all over the world with different bands and artists. And like a lot of other bass players, I still find it tough to get that perfect tone every time I plug in, be it in a different amp or playing a different style. So today I'm going to help you break down some bass tone basics and then show you how easy it is to enhance any bass line with just a few twists of the knobs here on this amp, the Fender Rumble LT25. Let's hear how it sounds before we jump in. I'm playing a Fender Player Series Precision Bass, and my EQ and volume on the amp are set at noon across the board. And we're on the first preset, which is Clean Studio. Here's how it sounds. So that's your simple clean bass tone. Let's take a look now at how some simple EQ adjustments affect that tone. I'm going to turn the treble up and roll the bass all the way back, which will give us some more percussive and pluckier sound, which will be great for funk and R&B style. So let's hear how that sounds. Now if I go the opposite direction and roll the treble off and crank the bass, we're going to get a really low end and somewhat muddy sound. Let's hear that. Bring the treble all the way down and the bass all the way up. And that same lick. So right away you've got some flexibility in your sound with just a simple EQ adjustment. You're also going to notice there's a gain knob here. Cranking that gain is going to give us a little bit of grit and a more clear sound. So if we have it low, you're going to hear a big difference. I'm going to put the treble and the bass back to 12 o'clock. And now I'm going to put the gain down. Here's that same lick again. Now with the gain up. You can hear how this would be great for a more rock-oriented bass line. Now the great thing about the LT25 is that in addition to having the standard functions of a bass amp, you've also got 50 presets or pre-made amp settings that you can choose from. Plus you can adjust each one to your liking, so you have endless possibilities for different styles and sounds. Let's hear a few right now. First up, number 7, organ tone. I can spin the preset knob here to go up to number 7. Let's check this tone out. You can hear how that tone is really affected. We've got a little bit of gain going on. There's the swirling sound like from an organ Leslie cabinet, and you can get some really cool bass tones with that organ. Now let's check out vintage fuzz. That's number 10. I'll hit the preset knob here, up to 10. You can hear their classic fuzz tone. It'd be great for any sort of classic rock and maybe punk rock. You can really get a lot out of that gain knob. Now let's check out Monster Bot. This is number 19. Got some low octave on there, super heavy fuzz and gain. You can really get a lot of monstrous sounds out of that, hence the name. Now up to number 23, wah echo. This would be great for any sort of funk stuff, Parliament, anything that you really want to have some fun with. You get that auto wah on there. Up next, we've got tremolo, number 28. We can get a really vintage kind of sound with this. So there's some of my favorite presets on here. This amp offers a ton of options here, so you're gonna have a lot of fun. So whether you're just getting started or as a guitarist like me who loves playing bass, this is the perfect amp. It's easy to use, it's versatile, it's portable, and it's great for home practice and a great value with a range of options. I want to play a little more, so I'm going to go back to the vintage fuzz. That's my favorite preset. See you later.
Whoa, that
Go
was
Dan.
heavy, yeah.
Yeah, Dan's the man.
Yeah, he is. Thanks, Dan, and welcome back. So, Chelsea, what are your thoughts on the LT25?
Man, I have to be honest, I am super picky with my amps, and I love this thing. I'm not just saying that, I am super picky. First of all, it's really small and gives you that kind of punch. I mean, you just heard it. It can be super fat, it can give you a lot of tone. So basically, as you heard from Dan, there's like a bass, middle, and mids and treble knob for each thing. Typically when I'm playing an amp, I like to put all of those knobs to 12 o'clock, and then I kind of play with the controls from there so I can hear what like a bass line would sound like. Bass line, huh? Get it? And then I, usually for me, because I like to play with a really fat tone, I just roll my treble off a little bit to like 11 or 10 o'clock. So that's the setting that you hear when I play. I was scrolling through some of these presets for the tones, and they sound so cool. I found number 13, which I think is like an octave thing. Let me dial that in.
Lucky 13.
Oh yeah, it's called
right
Punchy Octave. I love an octave pedal. I don't have a ton of pedals, but I have a few octave pedals because I think it sounds really cool. And the one in the amp sounds amazing. I mean, this thing is tiny. I can lift it with one hand.
Wait, more octave,
I
more
know.
octave.
That is so cool. Wow. Yeah, so this thing can do anything. I mean, I love the studio clean is what I was playing with before. And yeah, I think it sounds great. Let me get that studio clean back up so I don't destroy the building that we're in.
That's pretty awesome. The glass shatters.
Hey, wouldn't be the first time.
Hey. Okay, so we've looked at some bass options. We've
Yeah.
looked at some options with this new amp to get some different and cool tones. But so what if you don't have access to new gear? Is there anything that we can do to get some different bass tones that we haven't covered yet?
Yeah, absolutely. So it doesn't really matter what kind of bass you have. The electric bass is made to give you a lot of options for tones. Pretty much what you've seen so far is I've been playing with my front pickup and that knob all the way up. That'll give you just that really classic, clean bass player tone.
Bass player tone. I like that.
But if I turn that knob all the way down, kind of like we did before, and I turn that back pickup up, I have to move my hand back to that back pickup. And here's where you get that kind of Jocko tone. It's like very funky, very... And see how I'm even playing the low notes, and you can still really hear a difference between those two pickups.
Yeah, they really cut through with this setting.
Another cool thing that I like to do is turn my pickups all the way up, and if you play over the fingerboard and play some lower notes, you can kind of get even like a synthy sound. It's kind of woofy. There's not a lot of definition, and it gives you that really fat sound. Yeah, there's so many options.
Yeah,
it never ends.
And I could really hear the difference in like when we were talking about how like there's less definition and it's just more of like that sound, like a frequency almost.
Exactly, yeah.
But you still hear all the
It's
notes.
like playing a piano. You don't hear like a, you just hear the note.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Very cool. So what about something different? So especially for, we've got a lot of guitar players in our community.
Absolutely.
Who are thinking, what about this whole bass thing, right? How can I transition? I've never played with my fingers before.
Yeah.
Unless you're on level 4 of, say, our blues or our pop path in guitar, then we'll teach you how to play a finger picking style. But if you haven't gotten there yet, but you got a bass, how can we play bass?
Well, lucky for you guitar players, bass players do also play with a pick. I know this
Did you have that in your hand the whole time?
I mean, I might be a magician, you don't know. So
impressed.
I like to play with a pick. A lot of people play with picks for rock, which is very common. For that, you usually play over the...
Yeah.
But if you're a little higher in your guitar path, you might already know about palm muting with a pick, and you can actually do that same exact thing on bass.
Right.
So you can put your hand over that back bridge pickup and do exactly what you do. Use your palm to mute.
Wait a minute. You're playing with a pick and it's that funky?
I know, you wouldn't expect it, right?
How cool.
Yep, but that's just how versatile you can be with a bass.
Excellent. So even if you've just got some guitar chops, you've been playing with a pick for years,
Exactly.
it can be an easy transition.
Yeah.
That could be, we have to be careful with that though, because I've heard a lot of guitar players who go to play bass and there's that, so
You still got to know what you're doing,
Right.
a little bit.
that's why you have to take the bass path. We've got rock and the funk bass path, so don't forget about that.
Yeah, and both of those paths teach you a bunch of things. It teaches you palm muting and using a pick and slap even.
Yep.
All the different kind of finger styles. There's so much technique in there.
So tell me about this slap bass with which you speak. So if you're on the funk path, we'll teach you lessons on how to play slap bass.
Yeah, so if you're just getting into slap, it can be a little intimidating. But one little secret I have to making you sound like you know what you're doing even when you don't. You turn your tone knob all the way up, that's this little one back here, and you turn your treble or your back pickup all the way up. And what that does is give you that really percussive sound like a drum set. That's
Very
all you
cool.
need.
Give me just a little bit more of that. That was really cool.
Yeah, nice and funky.
That is nice. This whole thing is like bass, funk with a pick, slap, funk.
I think I bring the funk to I can't help it.
Bring the funk everywhere you go. Excellent. So also the dynamic range of the instrument. Can you speak a little bit to that?
Totally. So I'm going to use that front pickup again and say that I just wanted to play a bass line. I just want to stay home, as they like to say. Bass players are responsible for the foundation. So if we could play that groove that we were playing earlier.
Yep.
If I just wanted to play a bass line, I'd play over this front pickup, and it would sound like this. If I wanted to play more of a lead line over that, which you could totally play over the song, I would turn that back pickup back up and roll my front one down a little bit. And let's see what that would sound like. Can you start the groove for me? Cuts right through. I kind of become like a bass player soloist, and yeah, there's just so many options.
Yeah, so just exploring the range in the instrument. So, and I mean, and that's true for when you're playing the guitar. There's a lot of times, you know, if I want to kind of just, you know, lay down a foundation, I'll stay in kind of the lower range of the instrument.
Absolutely.
And then when I need to kind of come out over the mix, I'm going to play in the higher range of the instrument, play some higher notes.
Exactly. Works exactly the same on the bass. I think people who switch to bass think that they won't get to be in the spotlight as much, but bass can really take over. It's a loud instrument. So if you want to like take off and be the loudest person, you definitely can be.
It's quite easy, especially when I show up to a gig with a 22-watt guitar amp and you have an 800-watt.
The bass player's pushing in their half stack. Yeah, exactly.
Don't be mean. Come on.
We like to take over, what can I say?
Fair enough. And then I put my earplugs in. I don't hear my guitar anymore, but I still hear you.
It's the best part. Yep, it's pretty great.
It never goes away.
No, it doesn't. You can't get rid of us. You can try, but we'll never leave.
Fair enough. Beautiful. I think it's homework time, Chelsea.
Yeah, sounds good.
So every week we assign homework. So people in the Facebook community will post videos of themselves playing and progressing. So it's a great place for positive feedback and reinforcement. So what's a beginner going to do this week?
So a great thing to do if you're just starting with the bass is just pick some eighth notes and pick 2 notes and go back and forth. So if I was to do that, I might pick, let's say, C with my first finger and D with my 4th finger.
So you're counting 3 and 4.
Yep,
and
1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and you can slow that down as much as you want. You can do some staccato things like I was just doing, or practice your legato.
The note is long, right?
Exactly.
Staccato, the note is short.
Exactly.
Here's staccato. Love it.
Separated.
Separated.
And then legato is nice and connected. But yeah, when I'm first starting with my students, that's where you start.
Staccato, legato.
Staccato, legato.
Cool.
2 notes.
I love it. So if you're an intermediate bass player, what are they going to do?
Play a bass line that features your favorite tone. I've given you at least 150 options in this. So pick the one that sounded the coolest to you and yeah, play us a bass line. That'd be great.
That would be super awesome. And what about the hot shots? People have been playing for a while.
If you're a hot shot, show me that slap bass. That is that's a challenge.
Yes.
Yep.
Indeed. You're not going to hear it on this.
Yeah, no. Pick up a bass. You'll be fine.
Let's move on to the giveaway. So
sounds good.
The Fender Play giveaway, every week we give away a free piece of gear just for watching a lesson. So Chelsea, who is the winner this week?
Our winner this week is Craig P.
Woo! All right.
Yay! Go Craig, that's awesome.
Yeah, congrats Craig. So check out the link in the description for more info on how to be the next giveaway winner.
That's amazing.
We've got some questions that have come through, so let's see if maybe you can help us out with some bass questions. So Ray's asking the first question. So he's asking, for creating bass lines, is it mostly just done out of the guitar chord notes, meaning the root, 3rd, and 5th of the chord? So if I'm strumming a C chord, I've got 3 notes in that chord. Or can you play say a pentatonic scale, for example. So
Yeah.
how do you create a bass line?
Oh my gosh, there's so many ways. A good way to start if you're a beginner is doing those guitar notes, 1, 3, 5. They will get you really far, but the pentatonic scale is probably the thing you see the most in any bass line. Also walking up and down scales, you know, if he's playing a G major, you can pretty much play a G major scale and not just the chord tones.
Let's do it.
And
Just real
sure,
quick.
sure. So another thing that works great is the pentatonic scale, of course, and that's actually one of my favorite licks to play as a bass player is just a pentatonic scale. Makes you sound really cool.
That is cool.
And that all you need to do is play literally the pentatonic scale. You just start on the 1, and you can play that slow, you can play it fast, and it makes you sound really funky. That's it.
Love it.
Yep.
All right, you know what you need to do. Keith is asking, so Keith's a guitar player. He's our friend. Hi, Keith.
Hi, Keith.
So bass is on, he says, bass is on my list to try someday.
Amazing.
So he's tuning in and he wants some tips on picking out one for someone who has never even held a bass before. What's your advice, Chelsea?
Oh my gosh, so the best thing to do is definitely to go to any local store, your local music store, and just take every single bass down off the wall. And when I do that, what you don't hear people often do, but what you need to do is pick one bass line that works for you and play that same thing on every single bass. If you're playing a bunch of different stuff, you're not really getting a feel for the bass. But if you just pick a simple major scale, it'll tell you how far apart the frets are, if that feels comfortable for you. It'll help you figure out your right hand and if it's easy to pluck or if it feels kind of rough for you. But yeah, definitely just playing the same thing on a bunch of different instruments will help you find the right one.
That's great advice. And that's also same advice for a standard 6-string guitar. Same thing. Just play them all and play the same thing. That's great advice. Very cool. All right, we do some shout outs. So can you help me out with the shout outs here?
Absolutely. For our shout outs today, we have Paul Farmer and Frank Quadrasino. They recorded a cover of The Taxman together and posted it in the community, which is amazing. And we love to see collaborations like that.
Awesome. Well done, guys.
Yeah.
And one more, and we've got Richard Mowry. He showed us his progress on Johnny Be Good and used a metronome. Great job, Richard.
Wow! Yay, metronome.
Yay, metronome.
That's my best friend, Mr. Metronome.
Yes, Mr. Metronome is my friend too. Fender Play updates. So every week we release new lessons. So this week we've actually got the guitar version of Longview by Green Day.
Yeah.
And that's got such a cool bass line that we include the bass riff for the guitar lesson. Let's just play a little bit of it just for fun real quick.
Yeah, totally.
I think it starts on E. Yeah.
Okay, yep.
1, 2, 3, 4.
That's such a good one.
It's a great tune. It's great on guitar. It's great on bass. Oh, one last question.
Oh, we have a
that?
question.
Yeah.
Stacy asks, full scale or Mustang, how do you decide?
You've got some definite opinions on that.
I don't know if I'm the person to ask because I'm so biased, it's not even funny.
Whoa.
Yeah, I gotta say the Mustang Fender is maybe my favorite bass on the planet. Yeah, they are so funky. They're tiny. They don't give you back problems. They are so easy to play. The scale makes it so that people, even who have hands of a third grader, can be great at bass. I'm not kidding. If I can play that bass and play it, really well, then anyone can. So yeah, personally, I love a Mustang.
Gotcha. You sound pretty good on that jazz bass
This thing
too.
feels amazing, I gotta say. Yeah.
Very cool. So we're going to wrap things up. I want to thank Chelsea for stopping by. Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, anytime. This is super fun.
So we wanted to tell you to keep practicing, and we will see you next time. Let's play a
See
big
ya.
G. Ready?
Yep.
Go.